Hey guys, this is Tim with Channel Frederator, and you're watching Know Your Show. It's a new show we have coming out to teach you a little bit more about all the cartoons you love. So this week is Dragon Ball Z. Be sure to let us know in the comments if you like this, and let us know what you'd want to see next. So without further ado, here's Know Your Show.
Hey guys, I'm Chris Niosi. Here at Channel Frederator, and as you might be aware, we love geeking out about cartoon shows. But there's a lot of misinformation out there, so this week we're going to teach you everything you need to know about Dragon Ball Z. Because we want to make sure you know your show. It all began with a Japanese comic artist by the name of Akira Toriyama. Known for his gag manga, Dr. Slump, and a penchant for poop jokes, Toriyama produced a new series for Weekly Shonen Jump magazine in tribute to the Chinese folktale Journey to the West. This new manga combined elements of action-adventure, comedy, martial arts, and even some science fantasy eventually, into the legendary story that would become known as Dragon Ball. The series began in 1984 and started with loose ties to its folklore basis, starring a character based on the Monkey King, Son Wukong, or as he's known in Japan, Son Goku. Although it was originally planned to be only a few volumes, its popularity quickly grew and Toriyama's publisher, Shueisha, urged him to continue the story further and further, a request that would eventually become common practice for about a decade. 2 years after the manga had made its debut, Toei Animation decided to capitalize on its popularity by making an animated adaptation. The Dragon Ball TV series premiered with its first episode in 1986 and continued with weekly episodes, while the manga also continued its run on a weekly basis. As the story pressed on, Toriyama's art and storytelling became influenced by American superhero comics, and what started as a goofy, lighthearted parody of Journey to the West slowly evolved into a high-octane action series with flying, screaming, and energy blasts like you wouldn't believe. 5 years had passed, and with close to 200 manga chapters and over 150 anime episodes, Toei Animation wished to rebrand the TV series to better reflect this new, slightly more serious direction the story was taking. So, at Toriyama's suggestion, they chose to retitle the show Dragon Ball Z, the letter Z at the time referencing the fact that Toriyama considered the story to be close to finished. This, of course, ended up being a bit of an inaccurate title, as the manga and anime series both continued onward for another 5 years. As Toriyama's legendary manga finally came to an end in 1995 with over 500 chapters, the franchise had become a hit in various countries, and it was time for Dragon Ball to make its mark on the United States. After a previously failed attempt by Harmony Gold, led by the people who brought us Robotech, a new attempt was made by a young enterprising businessman named Gen Fukunaga and his startup company, Funimation. Thanks to his uncle, Nagafumi Hori, who is a producer at Toei Animation in Japan, Fukunaga was eventually able to raise enough money to license the rights to Dragon Ball for the US market. An English dub of the first 13 episodes and the first feature movie of the original Dragon Ball were produced by Funimation, outsourcing the voice recording and script adaptation in Vancouver, Canada, a place where dubbing foreign cartoons had become quite common in the 90s. The original Dragon Ball series had trouble getting its foothold in the States at first, running syndicated on TV, but not quite hooking as massive of an audience as Funimation hoped. But 1996 was the year that changed it all. Back in Japan, Dragon Ball Z had just finished airing its final episode on January 31st, with Toei's new sequel series, Dragon Ball GT, coming soon after, which would carry on for 64 episodes and was not originally based on manga source material from Toriyama like its predecessors. But over in the US, deciding to forego continuing with the original Dragon Ball series, Funimation instead gave the smash hit Dragon Ball Z a try and aired its first episode with a new English dub in September of that same year. The first 2 seasons of Dragon Ball Z aired syndicated on American TV for about 2 years, co-produced between Funimation and Saban, the company that brought us the first series of Power Rangers in the US. The series was performing so well that it was actually given its own 1-hour time slot for the second season. Though the series continued to build its following over these short years, Funimation and Saban cut ties after 2 seasons, leaving Funimation to continue production without them, next producing uncut English dubs of the first 3 DBZ movies with the help of Pioneer, but still outsourcing the voiceover and scriptwriting to Canada. However, this all changed in 1998, when they could no longer afford to keep working with the folks at Ocean Studios in Vancouver without Saban's financial support. So, continuing ahead without them, Funimation had an open cattle call at their headquarters in Dallas, Texas, seeking actors to fill in for the entire cast of the show, picking up from where they left off. Their first production, an English dub of the second Dragon Ball movie, Sleeping Princess and Devil's Castle. With an idea of how to create the show in-house now, it was time to turn their attention back to DBZ. They took this opportunity to produce both an edited version of the show suitable for television, as well as, after about a year or so of constant pleading and petitions from fans, bilingual DVDs with uncut footage and the Japanese language track. With a new production team, and thanks to the success of DBZ's run on Cartoon Network's Toonami programming block, the English dub continued onward and finished up through the rest of the series, becoming a flagship show for Toonami and finding incredible success in North America. By 2003, all of Dragon Ball Z and even a new English dub of the entire original Dragon Ball series had aired on Cartoon Network, with Dragon Ball GT coming soon after in the fall of that same year. Through reruns and countless video games, DBZ continued to prosper in both Japan and America, and another resurgence would occur in 2009 with the arrival of Dragon Ball Kai. This version of the show, originally produced to garner a new, younger audience in Japan, was tremendously cut down from the massive 291 episodes of Dragon Ball Z to just a little over half of that, a total of 167 episodes, edited in a faster pace akin to Toriyama's original manga, with slightly updated visuals, namely a few retraced scenes, new music, and new voice recordings. This allowed Toei Animation to cut much of the filler material that had been produced during DBZ's original run in the 90s. Extra material created in order to not catch up with its manga counterpart, and thereby run out of source material to draw from in the first place. On the English side of things, Funimation picked up the refreshed show in 2010, and seized the opportunity to dub Dragon Ball Kai in a style more akin to their usual English dub work they had been conducting by that time, accurately respecting the Japanese version's original script, and with their voice cast now having almost an entire decade's worth of acting experience under their belt to provide better performances. Although Dragon Ball Kai didn't see massive success in Japan, it did incredibly well overseas, including in the US, as it aired on both Nicktoons during weekday nights and the CW4 Kids on Saturday mornings, not to mention an uncut DVD and Blu-ray release. With Japan taking a break from producing Dragon Ball Kai, things seemed to die down for a while, until 2013, when some divine intervention happened in the form of an all-new Dragon Ball Z feature film, Battle of Gods. Although Toei had produced 17 Dragon Ball films alongside the series since the 80s, this particular case was on a far bigger scale. Co-produced by 20th Century Fox with creator Akira Toriyama himself directly involved with the story and characters, which we only just recently learned was due to his disappointment at not being listened to during Dragon Ball Evolution's production in 2009. Thanks, Hollywood. This new movie continued the story after the defeat of Majin Buu during the Z portion of the Dragon Ball story, with Toriyama treating it as if the manga had continued further beyond where he stopped drawing it weekly in 1995. Speaking of Majin Buu, the franchise's overall success prompted Toei to continue production on Dragon Ball Kai, finishing up the rest of the series in the form of the final chapters, which cover the rest of the show up until the end of the original series. As it pressed on airing in Japan, another massive event happened in the form of a second new movie, this time written by Toriyama himself from the start. Dragon Ball Z Resurrection F premiered in the United States in April 11, 2015, with a red carpet premiere in Los Angeles in Japanese with subtitles, and saw a wide theatrical release in Japan the following week. The English dub premiered first on 4th of July weekend during Anime Expo 2015, with a bigger theatrical release planned for the summer, along with something even bigger. After Dragon Ball Kai The Final Chapters finished airing its last episode, an all-new series continuing the story past the two recent movies, Dragon Ball Super, began airing in its place on July 5th, a new animated series for the first time in 18 years. In short, Dragon Ball Z is awesome. Hey, thank you guys for watching this video. If you liked it, be sure to hit the like button to let us know that you liked it. This has been your intrepid host, Chris Niosi. If you'd like to check out my channel, you can click the link below. I do vlogs and cartoons, lots of other stuff. Be on the lookout for more episodes of Know Your Show. Don't forget to subscribe, and remember, Frederator loves you.